Welcome to Business Influencers. I'm your host, Chris Salem. Hope everybody is having a great week. We are excited that the show continues to reach more people like you and help in raising your level of influence to the next level. And if you are new to our show, you found us here at the TALRadio.org platform. Here you'll find a wider variety of different types of content relevant to not only business, but all types of interest that you may have in your personal, professional life, and an opportunity now to engage with all the hosts that TALRadio brings to you each and every week. We've been fortunate to be with TALRadio since the beginning, now going on almost 5 years, it's hard to believe. And we want to thank all the loyal listeners that have been with us from day one, helping us to grow the show to where it is today, and we are committed to your success. Today's show is being brought to you today by Alumni Direct. Alumni Direct is a social media community platform dedicated to bringing alumni together from all different generational types and an opportunity to meet new people for the first time. Now, it is a membership program taking out all the noise out of social media. You get to generate genuine and authentic relationships with the people you choose to interact with. If you'd like some more information about Alumni Direct, check them out at alumnidirect.com. That's alumnidirect.com. Well, we got an exciting show for you today. We're going to be talking about uncertainty is the new certainty. Yes. So we're going to be talking about what that means, and for not only individuals, but teams and organizations now, where culture is everything, and how we can reculture our organizations to accommodate all different types of people that are going to be the future of where you are in business and where you want to go from there. We're going to be here with Adam Markell. Adam is the CEO of WorkWell Labs, a resilient researcher and highly sought after international keynote speaker. He's the best-selling author of Pivot, The Art of Science and Reinventing Your Career, and Life in Change Proof. A former attorney and former CEO of one of the largest business and personal development training companies in the world, Adam combines practical business strategies with accelerated learning techniques. He credits much of his foundational understanding of high-performance teamwork and life and death crisis management to his formative years as a Jones Beach lifeguard and ocean first responder. And without further ado, we welcome Adam to the show. Adam, how you doing today?
Good to be with you, Chris. Thanks so much.
Thank you for being here.
It's painful to listen to my bio being read.
Believe me, I when I hear mine, I'm like, wow, is that me? Who was that?
Yeah, it is interesting.
Well, we are so excited. I've known you for quite some time, and it's great to reconnect. And you've done such great things over the years, and you're really out there doing a lot now in the area of of helping organizations and businesses to really understand the importance of culture. And while uncertainty is a fact, right? There's nothing certain in this world, but nonetheless, we don't have to see everything as uncertain. So we'd love to get maybe that background about what you're going to share with us today, even from a personal perspective. What really led you now down this path of really helping leaders and organizations to really embrace uncertainty as the new certainty?
Yeah, well, I appreciate the opportunity to just sort of start somewhere, maybe at the beginning. I was a lawyer for almost 20 years, and part of my work as an attorney was in the litigation space. So in the, combat, in the arena, and it was very adversarial. And I got to see often what was broken inside of organizations, broken in the workforce, because I was being hired primarily by plaintiffs who were unhappy with certain work situations that were happening. So I wasn't representing management at the time. I was on the other side of the fence, and these were very very contested and hard fought battles, which usually were resolved at a certain point. I realized at that moment that there's something really broken in the world of work. I knew it when I was myself for a short while working in a corporate arena before I went to law school, and then I had that reaffirmed for me as I saw all these disputes unfolding. I knew that at the time I didn't know there was some other way to resolve it other than with a blunt instrument, which was a lawsuit. What we do at WorkWell now is address these concerns and address the things that are getting in the way of people enjoying the process of work, which is one that we spend almost more time doing than anything else in our lives. So helping folks to get what they need out of that relationship without having to come up against that crisis moment where things go wrong, things go sideways. People are in situations where you need a mediator or a judge to resolve a dispute. So we're very much more proactive about that. And that's something that we absolutely love to do because it really brings into, when I think about my history, I was a middle school English teacher, but at a certain point I pivoted. I wrote a book called Pivots. I pivoted a number of times. And so I was a teacher for a while. I was in the corporate space in publishing for Simon & Schuster, which funny enough ended up publishing my second book, or actually my first and my third book to be, and then ended up being a lawyer for almost 20 years. And then after that, CEO and a founder of an organization that helps organizations, that kind of thing. But the common thread, the through line, if you will, from in all of those situations was the idea of education, the idea of counseling, really. That's the part about the law that I actually loved, was counseling clients and even creating opportunities for dialogue and for connection that led to resolution, even in that litigious space. So I love what we do now because it incorporates so much of that. There's an element of like, we sometimes get hired just to deliver a keynote talk to an organization that really wants to support some function, whether it's their sales team or it's their HR function or it's the entire organization, or it's the individual contributors, whatever it might be. Sometimes we're brought in simply to share information at a 30,000 foot level on how it is that you can create a culture of resilience. I'm wearing a t-shirt that has that word on it for a reason, but what we like to refer to as a got your back culture. And so that element of the training or the teaching is just like it's drawing on the same things that I learned as a teacher, as a middle school teacher. It draws on the same things that helped me to stand in front of a judge or a jury and make a case, provide evidence. It's very similar in that respect. And it's also an opportunity to inspire and motivate people. So that's one of the ways that we sort of the tip of the spear, if you will. And then, when we find those champions within organizations that really want to be a champion of change, AI right now has created, a lot of uncertainty, and the speed, the velocity of change, technology change, but changes of all kind are just prolific, and people are feeling anxious and sometimes even angry and uncertain about these changes. How do you meet people where they are? How do you support them in that environment when they're worried whether they're going to have a job, or they're going to worried about what sort of shoe is going to drop next? And that's where we get to have some fun, because when we meet those champions that want to see change happen, meet people where they are, then we get to offer these other opportunities for that discussion of how you support people in an environment where the change isn't going to go away anytime soon, and where we know that their best work is going to depend on them being at their best.
Love it. And what really stood out for me, what you shared, is like, that education part, got your back, your values. It seems like, your values have always been the same since every evolution of your career. And now you just transferred them to where you are now, and teaching people that, you have to give, in order to receive. And the prime way to do that is to be the example. And when people feel psychologically safe, not in an enabling way, but in a way that empowers them to step out of their comfort zone, when normally people will play it safe because they're afraid they're going to expose their weaknesses, or you're going to think they're incompetent, so they just do the bare minimum. That organizations don't grow that way. That's how expectations fall through the cracks. Love what you're doing there. Share with us, what that shift with reculturing from that, and with all this uncertainty, where we can learn to see it as certainty in a certain way, that especially with these younger generations, where we have these problems with the older generation, the younger generations, and how we merge them together to create a better culture to move a business forward.
Yeah, it may sound a bit like a truism or even a cliche, but we have to think bigger. Thinking bigger is not thinking smaller. And we think so small in so many respects. And so this thinking bigger is understanding, how do you create an environment where we're nurturing people. Again, where we're human plus, not human minus. AI is a technology that enables us to be human plus if we utilize it in the right way. But if it's utilized in the wrong way, then it creates some of the fear and anxiety, as well as some of the legitimate concerns about the future of our workforce that people are feeling right now. So what we need in that instance is transparency, and it's so sorely lacking. We have so many, and again, when we think about Reculture, which is the name of the brand new book. So I wrote a book called Pivot 2016. It's a book about reinvention, personal, professional. And then I wrote a book called Change Proof, Leveraging the Power of Uncertainty to Build Long-Term Resilience. That came out of the pandemic, literally in 2022. And then this book right here, which this one just came out June 16th, just hit the shelves, Reculture. And it's a leadership guide to reestablishing connection, collaboration, and trust in a disconnected workforce. Because coming out of the pandemic, people, I think, realize just how disconnected we actually are. And the level of depletion and exhaustion, and even, it's a jargon term, but even burnout that we're seeing right now is at levels that are really staggering, and they're concerning. So this book is a leadership guide to help to, again, meet people in that place where they are, and provide them with what they actually need. And that's cultural. That's a cultural and a behavioral change. And one of those, because look, it's a almost 250-page book. So I'll just share a couple of things, but one of them is this idea of this transparency. And by that, people have heard that before, transparency. So what does that mean? It means right now we have a lot of open loops. Communication is really a challenge for a lot of people because they don't know where they stand. And because they don't know where they stand, the way our minds work is we make up stories about where we stand. When we don't have a narrative that's provided that makes sense to us, we create a narrative that will create, some level of certainty for ourselves. So it's every leader's job to close these open loops, because every open loop, every person that you lead who's wondering about their future or about where the company is headed or what the company is committed to, any of those sort of open loops, they're literally like open loops, or open tabs, I should say, on your computer or your phone. They are drawing energy out of us. They are depleting us, and ultimately contributing to adrenal fatigue and all the things, the anxiety and things that we know is not just a headline. This is the real lived experience for so many people in the workforce. So middle level managers are rarely given training in these areas. We love to work in that middle space to help them, because statistically speaking, the reason someone will leave a job more often than not is because they have and I don't know if you use the 4-letter version of this, but they have a crappy manager, let's say.
Fine. You're fine. We can say anything you want.
I love it. They have a shitty manager, right? And that's why they're unhappy. That's why they're toxic. That's why they are not as productive as they can be. And often that's why they leave, or back to my lawyer days, why they sometimes, are not unable to play nicely in the sandbox with others. And that's when we need to get HR and lawyers involved and that kind of thing. All that is avoidable. All of these things can be dealt with before they become an issue, and more importantly than just sort of alleviating the issues, which is a cost savings to companies, and it's a good reason to have us come in and help. But there's a bigger ROI, which really concerns engagement and productivity and overall wellness in the workplace. When you have people that are happy with what they're doing, look, my origin story for this Got Your Back, this concept of having each other's back, I didn't create. It came from being a Jones Beach lifeguard, as you mentioned in my introduction. Yes. What we learned, I tell a story typically when I deliver a keynote. I will share a story at the beginning of a rescue that went bad at the beach, and where we weren't successful, and somebody lost their life. And the lessons that we as a lifeguard crew had to learn in the moment and completely adapt, and then where we made those changes, that those adaptive changes to our behavior over the course of the rest of the summer, so that never happened again. And not only that, but I got to work while I was a teacher and I was still studying and going to law school and things. I was able to be a lifeguard at that beach for 7 summers. And after that first summer and that first tragic loss, we never lost anybody again. Nobody ever went down in our water and on our watch again. And I know that's a very high standard. It's a life and death context. But again, when you're thinking about being a people leader at whatever level you are, whether you're a senior executive or not, People are in your water. People are in your charge. People are your responsibility. And you're also that in so many other areas of your life, whether you're caring for an elderly parent or you're caring for children or whatever it might be, you're caring for your friends. These are really important things. And so to be able to do that effectively without burning yourself out, now that's the special sauce. And that's what
I
this
love
book is
that you
about.
said that because you can't give from an empty cup, right?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And at the beach with 20 lifeguards to be on, like, we had thousands of people in the water. I know it sounds crazy, but it was a very busy beach in just outside of the city of New York, and we had hundreds of thousands of people on the beach at any one time and thousands in the water. We were making rescues, sometimes 100 rescues on a Saturday or Sunday in heavy surf and rip currents. I mean, with everything constantly changing, the tides, the sun, the wind, you name it. So for us to be successful, we had to have each other's backs. We had to know that there was no daylight between us. We had to know that we were not only being cared for by the rest of our crew, but that we were able and equipped to take care of ourselves as well, so that we weren't a liability, that we didn't create a double drowning ourselves. These are the core concepts that, again, when we bring those learnings into the workforce, then people are able to better work together, take care of each other, take care of themselves, and perform for the ultimate goal that every organization has to succeed.
I love that. I love your experience with the lifeguard, what you explained there, and then how all the lifeguards, work together. You learn from that experience. I mean, in this case, somebody passed away, but it's like it maybe somebody didn't pass away in a company, but maybe you lost a major account or something. Maybe your evaluation went considerably down for whatever reasons, and yet
Look,
you didn't
Chris,
talk to it. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I've interrupted you. It's not life and death in an organization typically, but when people lose their jobs, it feels like
that.
You got a mortgage to pay, and you're a part of a restructuring, and you lose your job. And what I'm saying is that often those situations where there's a loss like that it's an unforced error. It's an avoidable loss, is what I'm saying. That often when organizations are focused on their culture, they're less likely, and that's statistically the case, they are less likely to need to reduce their workforces. They're less likely to have to go through that repetitive cycle of hiring and firing. They're less likely to have problems in the workforce that cost money to resolve.
Yeah.
And the opposite is true. They're more likely to have people who are healthier, with fewer costs associated with their health, fewer on-the-job injuries, fewer mistakes in the workplace, more engagement, greater productivity. You start to look at when, like in a business, I'm a business owner, I've been a business operator. There's two ways to change the numbers in a business, which is all the business is, right? In the end, it comes down to numbers. You can either reduce your expenses or increase your revenue. And in the best of all worlds, you're doing both. That's what creates exponential difference in your bottom line.
You just nailed it, because yes, systems play an important role with that. Like AI could play, but if your people are not operating on a similar wavelength, like you said, and it's a turnstile of people coming and going, and you're recruiting people in, but you're losing people just as fast, if not more, in the back end. That ain't solving the problem. And matter of fact, it's making it more complicated.
I mean, it's summertime, right? So we can all appreciate this. You got your air conditioner running, and it's running full force, and then you have the windows and doors open, and you go, how's that working for you?
Exactly. Yeah, I'm throwing money out the door, and I'm hot, and so true. And so what do you feel like, instead of companies like seeing this as, hey, it sounds nice, it's a nice to have, that if we can learn this, now looking at it that this is a must-have. This is part of the foundation of the overall strategy, because like you said, all these things that are important to them, they're costing them money, or not making them enough money, or costing people that may not want to work there because of the conditions. Like where does it gotta start? Does it start at the top, or does it start where you meet them where they are, and the people that are willing to now do something, you meet them there?
Yeah.
Or is it at the top too?
I mean, I love this question, Chris, because it's a softball for me, and I appreciate that. But it's also a hard ball, because this is where things really are at. We are always looking for a champion. I mentioned that earlier, because if you don't have a champion for change within an organization, and I mean the kind of change that we're talking about, that has clarity. So it's a champion with clarity on what again, what's the big picture? Very few people truly can think big. That's why, there's not that many people at the top, and traditionally the people at the top have this capacity to do that. Not everybody, and not everybody does it well, which is why that could be a roller coaster experience in life. Be careful what you ask for, right? Because when you're the one at the top who's being asked to think bigger, then that's your responsibility. You don't get to just get to the top and then decide, oh, I get to think small now, or I don't have to, solve big problems or have a big vision because I'm here. Well, you want to stay there. This is what it's going to require. So a champion is somebody that can think big, can understand that culture is not a soft skill. It's not a nice to have. It's not a, hey, when we're doing well, we should be one of the best places to work and all that kind of thing. No, it's understanding that the long-term net positive effect of a culture that is producing well-being in the workplace, what we call this reculture concept, the net positive effect of that is a net to the bottom line. It's a net to stakeholder value, shareholder value. It's a net to longevity. It's a net to really keeping your best talent, nurturing your best talent, growing talent, and attracting talent, which again is a vitally important thing for any organization, because people think that AI is gonna, replace a lot of jobs. It will replace jobs that are beneath our pay grade. And that may be controversial to say, but I'm just going to say it. As a human being, our pay grade is much higher than the level at which AI is going to be taking on roles, at least in any near future. So, that's, you got to ask yourself, are you working above or below your pay grade?
That's true.
As a human, and if you're working below your pay grade, which most people are, then that's an opportunity to go bigger. Think bigger, see bigger, find bigger, attract bigger. Like, that's what we have to do.
We want to talk to you more about that on another episode, because I know we're coming towards the end of the show, and I want to that's going to be the next thing we're going to have you come back and talk on and piggyback on that with us. I know we're towards the end of the show, and I want to make sure that this audience has a chance to reach out to you, get their hands on a copy of the book. Feel free to give any information how they can contact you. We're also going to include all that information in the show notes, everybody. So we'll make sure that in the episode you'll be able to see that on TALRadio, Apple, Spotify, and of course YouTube, where you can access Adam. We encourage everyone to reach out to Adam, corporate leaders, business owners, and alike. First off, before we do that, Adam, I want to thank you personally for taking the time to be with us. Also, the rest of the team here at the Touch of Life Foundation, and all the great things that you're doing to really, truly help organizations see that this is a must-to-have skill. This is not just a skill, but a strategy that can transform, and I mean that, transform cultures to produce bigger and better results and help people think big. How can people get in contact with you?
Thank you for saying that, Chris. I appreciate it. So AdamMarkell.com, that's a simple way to get to the website and just see a little bit about what we do in the world. Our company is called WorkWell, and WorkWellLabs.com is the enterprise solution for these things that we're talking about. And if you want to get the book Reculture, and I hope that folks will want to do that too, just go to Amazon and put in Reculture book or my name, and you'll find it there. And it's the best price, and it's easy, it's free delivery and all that good stuff. So, yep.
Well, we're going to encourage everybody, get your hands on that book. This is something that, again, you can make a difference in your organization, because if without your people, systems and other things can only get you so far. It really comes down to people, and you got the right guy here, Adam Markell, who can help you to do that. Adam, thank you so much again for taking time to be with us.
Thank you, Chris.
Appreciate you. And listeners, we want to thank you each and every week joining us here at Business Influencers. Again, we are committed to bringing in subject matter experts like Adam in each and every week to help elevate you and your business in terms of the level of influence to the next level. It's through the power of influence that we can empower people to own their role and duties in whatever that may be, and you being the example and the resource to help them to do that. That's what business influence is all about. Till then, everybody, have a great rest of your week. We'll be back next time at the same date and time. Till then, have a great day and take care.